All right, if I'm wearing the company branding, that can only mean one thing. It means it's camp season. Prospect camp season underway in the Southside got started this weekend. Pitt coaches hosting recruits in the Southside to work out for the morning, the afternoon. They had one on Saturday. They had one on Sunday. We were there to cover everything for Panther-Lair.com and Rivals.com. This is really the only time I bust out the company branding. I don't really wear the company shirt very often, but this is when I do it, because you gotta throw up a flag. You know what I mean? You go to these prospect camps, you gotta let people know why you're there. Like, they got a lot of football coaches there, coaches from this school and that school. They all wear their logos, so when you look around, you know who they are. You see them. Well, that's what I do. I show up with my Rivals.com shirt, so you know who I am. You know why I'm there. You know what we're there to do, and we're there to check out the recruits and see the guys work out. And Pitt had a lot of kids. More than 300 total prospects came through the South Side over the weekend. A little bit more on Saturday, a little bit less on Sunday. Still a lot of interesting guys to check out, and a whole bunch of guys that are going to make you feel really, really old when we tell you who they were and what they were doing at the prospect camp. But let's go over some of the standouts, talk about some of the guys that really were notable, some of the new offers that went out, and a big bunch of recruiting updates coming out of the first big prospect camp weekend of the summer. Let's talk recruiting here on the Morning Pitt, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Yeah, it's June. It's recruiting month. I mean, we got prospect camps this past weekend. Next weekend's going to be more. It's going to be official visits, and there's going to be another prospect camp, and then the next weekend there's going to be more official visits and another prospect camp, and then there's going to be more official visits and a passing camp, and this is what happens in June, and throughout that whole thing, probably starting this coming weekend, there's going to be a bunch of commitments. It's going to be a big recruiting June, as it always is. And we'll have lots of coverage for you right here at youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com and Panther-Lair.com. You know the website below, part of the Rivals.com network, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com is the place to get all your Pitt sports coverage. Football, basketball, and recruiting. It's all at Panther-Lair.com. And, of course, our YouTube channel right here, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com, is all of our video content. We have daily Morning Pitt videos. Our weekly live show every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Although we have to move it this week. It's probably going to be like, I don't know. It might be tomorrow night. It might be Thursday night. I haven't decided, but it's not going to be Wednesday night. So we got to figure out which day we're going to do it. But I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know. I'll make sure you're aware of it. But it's not going to be Wednesday. It might be tomorrow at 8. It might be Thursday at 8:30. We'll see. We'll see exactly what it ends up being. But the live show is always fun. Jim Hammett and I get together. We talk a little Pitt sports and get you get your comments and your questions. We have a little interaction on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or a Tuesday night, as it were, whatever it ends up being. But it'll be fun no matter what. We always have a good time with it, and hopefully you can join us for the live streams. You want to make sure you don't miss it. Like this video and subscribe. youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Let's see where to start. As of this taping, which we recorded this Sunday night, there were 2 new scholarship offers that went out from Pitt's prospect camps over the weekend. Let's set the stage a little bit so you have an idea what we're talking about. I keep saying prospect camps like we've all been to these things for 15, 20 years or whatever, like I have, and maybe you haven't, and that's understandable. The prospect camps. So the way these things will work, Pitt has usually a couple hundred recruits come down to the South Side and work out for the day. And it starts off in the morning. They all get registered and checked in. They stretch, and then they go through testing. And I think they do vertical. I think they do broad jump. They do the 40. I think they do a shuttle. And they get all their measurements, too, their height and their weight. So the coaches actually know, what they're working with. And if a guy who says he's 6'2" is actually 6'2", or if that 6'2" is more like 5'11 and a half, which is not unheard of. And so they go through all of that, and once that's done, they break off into their positions. And this is when the actual work begins. The players work with the coaches, and it's a Pitt coach and then a couple Pitt players at that position, guiding guys through, putting them through drills, and ostensibly helping them get a little better at football. I think the coaches like to think, and I think a lot of times the players feel like they are a little bit better or know a little bit more coming out of the camp than they knew going in. I think the coaches like to think that they can at least give a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of wisdom that the players will take back to their teams and maybe be a little bit of a better player as a result. And I think that's one of the big hooks for a camp like this is you get coached by college coaches. You know, no matter where you're playing at some small school in Eastern PA, you're out in Ohio, you're, you know, wherever you might be, 1A, 6A, it doesn't matter. You're going to get coached by a Division I college football coach, an ACC college football coach. And that's worth something. Those guys have a little bit of knowledge. They've been around the game for a long time. They have something to pass on to you. So you get coached by them as you go through these drills. And you know, it's your standard sort of drills, but you're getting all the technique work and the extra, like I say, the coaching and the tips and whatnot. And then they'll move into the linemen will have one-on-ones. The O-line and the D-line will have one-on-ones. You know, and then sort of at the same time, the quarterbacks, the running backs, receivers, tight ends, linebackers, and DBs will all work in, you know, a variety of one-on-ones. Sometimes running backs on linebackers, sometimes sort of screen coverage and different things, and then eventually down to like some of the most fun is just like the straight up one-on-ones, receiver versus DB, tight end versus linebacker, running back going out on a wheel route against a linebacker, drop back, you know, ready, go, drop back, throw it deep and see who can make a play. That's always fun to watch. That's a lot of fun to watch. Everybody gets excited. You see some pretty impressive catches, some great defensive plays, and it's a lot of fun. And then usually they'll finish it off with some 7-on-7 pass skelly, as they call it, you know, with your quarterback and skill guys, running back, tight end, receivers against the back seven, the linebackers and the DBs, the corners and the safeties. And then, you know, they'll go through all the drills and the one-on-ones and the 7-on-7s for about 2 hours or so. And they get a lot of work in. And, you know, obviously the more kids there are at these camps, the less work you're going to get, the fewer reps you're going to get. But if it's a camp like yesterday's, where they literally had 77 guys, you're going to get a lot of reps. You know, you're going to be able to work in a lot of different situations, and you're going to be able to get a lot of reps as long as you're not just standing back. Because some of it is like, if you want the rep, you get up to the front of the line. You know, you don't want to cut in line, but you get up to the front of the line and you get the reps, you get the work. And so a camp like yesterday, and I think on Saturday I had about 230 guys or so, which is not bad. It wasn't huge. I mean, last year, I think like they had camps where they had like more than 400 players. And that was ridiculous. That was too much. There was too much going on. There was too many guys. You couldn't see anything. You couldn't tell anything that was going on. It was really hard to narrow it down on who were actually the good players. You contrast that with yesterday's camp where they had 77 guys in attendance, and you could see everybody. You know, when our photographer David Haig was there, and I was like, well, I'll send you a list of, you know, relevant guys, important guys to make sure we get a photo of, and he's like, well, there's only like 70 guys here. I'm just going to get a picture of everybody. So that's what we ended up with. We ended up with a picture of everybody because why wouldn't we? You know, it's you know, there's just you're able to get that kind of individual attention on each guy because there's so few in attendance. And so it's a different kind of camp. It's a little bit different when you have that few versus how many they had on Saturday or some of the camps last year. But either way, so that's the scene. And so you're going into these things, and yeah, they're, you know, shorts and T-shirts and helmets. They have helmets on, but they're shorts and T-shirt camps. They're not full pads. There's not full contact. Nobody's tackling. You're supposed to stay up and everything like that. But you do get good competition. You know what I mean? You get good competition in the one-on-ones, whether it's the linemen or the skill guys. You get good competition in the 7-on-7s. You get good competition just quarterbacks throwing to receivers. I mean, you can see what you got. And I'll tell you, this right off the top, the first thing I'll say is like, having a good group of quarterbacks makes all the difference in a camp like this. Because I've seen Pitt prospect camps in the past where the group of quarterbacks in attendance was not very good. I mean, it just not good. And that brings down everything. It brings down the, you know, individual drills of just quarterback and receiver drills. It brings down the one-on-ones. It brings down the 7-on-7s. It's just not fun to watch because you're not giving the receivers and the DBs an opportunity to make plays. And let's be honest, when you go to one of these shorts and T-shirt camps, the things that are most interesting to see are the receivers and DBs making plays. I mean, it really is. And so if you have a lousy quarterback or you don't have any good quarterbacks who can throw, you're not gonna have many opportunities for that to happen. Fortunately for all of us who watched yesterday's camp, and fortunately for the Pitt coaches, and fortunately for everybody who participated, it was a pretty good group of quarterbacks. I don't know if it was loaded with Power 5 quarterbacks, but it was full of guys who could throw the ball. The ball was coming out of their hands really well, and they were giving the receivers and tight ends and running backs an opportunity to make plays. So we like seeing that. A bunch of local guys too, who are a few. I wanted to Nolan DeLucia from Peters Township. He's a 2026 recruit, so he's going into his junior year. He was pretty good. Devin Harris from Penn Hills, another 2026 guy. He was pretty good. Patrick Smith, Mount Lebanon guy. Got to shout out the Lebo guys. I thought he had a pretty solid work. Luke Costco at Thomas Jefferson. He's going to be a senior. He had a pretty good day. They had guys who were throwing the ball well, so you're able to see them make plays. And one of the main guys catching passes from those quarterbacks, one of the guys making the most plays. I feel like I'm going to sneeze, so that's going to come up any minute here, right in the middle of as I'm talking. You can feel that, you're trying to like hold it back, but trying not to let. I might have gotten rid of it. Okay, good. One of the main guys catching passes from those quarterbacks was a player named Devin Fitzgerald. Now, Fitzgerald's a pretty common last name, but when you already saw the man himself standing on the sidelines, you say, "Is that Larry Fitzgerald?" And then you look and you see, oh, look at that. There's a wide receiver named Fitzgerald from Arizona. Yeah, you put 2 and 2 together, and you feel real old because Larry Fitzgerald has a son who is going into his junior year of high school, and he's a wide receiver prospect. He's already got a handful of West Coast scholarship offers, and as of yesterday afternoon, he added one from Pitt. Devin Fitzgerald was outstanding at Pitt's camp yesterday. Did a great job. We're going to hold off on the comparisons to his dad because that's not fair. It's not fair to any human being to be compared to Larry Fitzgerald. He's the GOAT. It's just the reality of it. But Devin Fitzgerald, on his own merit, and if his name was Devin Smith, we would say this, had a really good camp. Looked really good. He's already like 6'2", so he's got good size heading into his junior year of high school. He's got strong hands. He's got good body control. He's able to go up and get the ball. Speed is not elite. He doesn't have elite speed, but with his body control, with his route running, with his ability to catch the ball, he can make up for a lot of those things. They had a goal line drill. I think they lined up at like the 5 or something like that. Ran a lot of fades and things like this. It was a one-on-one drill. Quarterback thrown to a wide receiver versus a DB, or a tight end versus a linebacker, running back versus one or the other. And I watched the whole thing. And I think I saw every rep Devin Fitzgerald took in that drill. And I'm pretty sure he took 4 reps, and I'm pretty sure he scored 4 touchdowns. And every single one of those 4 was different. I mean, one time he just went up over a wide receiver, or over a DB, and just caught the ball, just grabbed it right over his head. He had one where he cut in and got in. He had one where he ran kind of a stop route, sort of, little, faked like he was going to run the fade, and then stepped back and caught the pass and danced into the end zone. I mean, like it was almost easy for him. It was an outstanding performance on the goal line, and he did a great job. And it really wasn't I was like, they have to offer this guy by the end of the camp. I mean, like, there's no way they can let Devin Fitzgerald leave campus without a scholarship offer after the camp he just had. And sure enough, he got an offer when the camp ended. I mean, he earned it. I don't know where it's going to go. You'd like to think that, having Larry Fitzgerald for your dad would help Pitt's chances. But, I mean, we've seen plenty of legacy recruits choose not to follow in their father's footsteps. And that's understandable. Everybody's got their own path they got to take. But we've certainly seen that over the years. But Devin Fitzgerald's really good, and he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Another one, so there were 2 offers that went out this weekend. 2 offers went out from the prospect camps. Devin Fitzgerald was yesterday. On Saturday was Jimmy Callis, an offensive lineman from Central Catholic. He's in the 2027 recruiting class, so he's going into 10th grade. Pretty young, But when you look at him standing there, he doesn't look young. Like, I was joking to people. I was talking to some coaches from some different schools. I was like, look, I'm pretty sure I didn't look like that when I was going into 10th grade. I'm pretty sure I wasn't built like that. He has a teammate, John Sasich, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Another guy in the 2027 recruiting class. He's like 6'6". Like, these dudes are huge for their grade. And you can see why they're going to be big-time D1 prospects. I mean, Callis is already well on his way. He's got a handful of offers already, and Pitt joined that group after the camp on Saturday. It was the kind of thing, watching him during the camp, and look, when they run one-on-one drills with linemen, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, at these shorts and t-shirt camps, it heavily favors, and even if they're in full pads, it heavily favors the defensive line. It's a tough drill for O-linemen to win. But he was winning. And when Callis lost some drills, it wasn't necessarily, I mean, he got beat, but it was more like he got beat by his own youth, so to speak. It's like that old sort of cliche of, like, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. I mean, he's a puppy, he's raw, whatever football coach cliche you want to use, he's still figuring it out. But he's got great size, and he moves really well, and the potential is through the ceiling. I think he's going to be really good, and he was outstanding at Pitt's prospect camp on Saturday. He actually had reps where he was going against a guy who just finished his freshman year at Notre Dame College. It's not the Fighting Irish. It's Notre Dame College in Ohio. And went into the transfer portal. And so he's trying to find a new opportunity, and Pitt actually likes him. His name is Desmond Brown. He's a linebacker, but they moved him to defensive end during the camp. He fits really well at defensive end. Pitt offered him an opportunity to come in as a preferred walk-on. But he's going into his second year of college. He just finished his first year of college. Jimmy Callis just finished his first year of high school, and they're out there taking reps against each other. And Callis is holding up. Yeah, I mean, like, this Desmond Brown was winning reps, and he was using speed, and he was using some moves here and there. But Callis was holding his own. He was holding his own and doing a really nice job. He's a good young prospect. And sometimes that's some of the best stuff you're going to see at camps like this. I mean, like, there were a lot of, like, good young defensive backs, good local young defensive backs, guys in the 2026 and 2027 class. I mean, there's some guys we already know about, like Keyshawn Robinson at Westinghouse, or David Davis and Amani Christian, or Deron Barksdale at Steel Valley. Like, we know about those guys in the 2026 class. They've got rankings and stars and offers. But then there were some other guys who sort of emerged, like on Saturday. Lawrence Timmons. Yeah, I told you there would be names that would make you feel old. Lawrence Timmons, going into his junior year of high school at Pine Richland, had a really good day at corner in Pitt's prospect camp on Saturday. And yes, that is Lawrence Timmons' son. Look, this weekend felt like the whole weekend of making me feel old, right? Because I'm seeing like Lawrence Timmons' son, Larry Fitzgerald's son, and then a lot of times what would happen, so I'd be going down the list of players in attendance. And while I'm watching them do like 40s or something, run 40s or do testing, which is not really that interesting to see, I'm looking up on my phone. I'm looking up, is this a recruit? Does this guy have offers? Who is this guy? Who's this guy? And a lot of names would pop up. I do a recruit search in the Rivals.com database. Rivals.com. I do a recruit search in the Rivals database and put in the recruits' names, and a lot of times I get a hit. But it wasn't this kid. It was a recruit in the class of 2004 with the same name. Probably his dad. You see what I'm saying? Like, I would search. I forget. There was one guy I searched from Saturday's camp. I think he was a lineman. I have my list here. Oh, well. I forget. Whatever his name. His name was John Smith. There's something far more unique, and it pops up. Oh, here's John Smith, the recruit in the 2004 recruiting class. Like, pretty decent chance that we're looking at. Not only we're not finding not only are we finding the kids we're looking for, but we're finding their dads in the recruiting database as well. Because look, the class of 2004 was 20 years ago. guys graduated high school 20 years ago. They could have a 15-year-old right now or a 16-year-old who would be in some of these recruiting classes. Yeah. And so, yeah, this weekend was all about feeling old. But no, Lawrence Timmons at Pine Richland looks really good. Corey Pitts, another 2026 defensive back prospect at North Allegheny, looks really good. I tell you, I mentioned Deron Barksdale, the 2026 recruit at Steel Valley. You know, his older brother, Donald Barksdale, going to his senior year at Steel Valley, scored like 35 touchdowns for Steel Valley last year, 2,000-yard rusher. He had an incredible day at Pitt's Prospect Camp yesterday. I mean, it was just outstanding. Every drill the running backs did, Donald Barksdale was killing it and was the best guy on the field doing the drills. I mean, he was going up against guys, you know, defensive backs 3-4 inches taller than him and making plays against them. He just had a great day. It was actually a chance to talk to his younger brother, Deron, and he was like, yeah, I think that was the best camp that he's ever had. And I believe it. That was one of the best camps anybody, you know what I mean? Like that's up there on the list of camp performances that we've seen. He was just outstanding. I don't know if he's ACC level or not, but he's a heck of a player, and he's going to be great for Steel Valley this year, and probably be pretty good in college wherever he ends up. But he definitely stood out yesterday. So that's a handful of guys that stood out, handful of observations, handful of things to know about and think about. A little recruiting talk to start the week. I got some more quarterback thoughts I want to wrap up from last week's quarterback conversations. We'll probably talk about that tomorrow. We'll have a preview of the official visit weekend coming up. We've got live streams. We got all kinds of things going on. Well, one live stream. There's not going to be two, but there's going to be a lot of stuff right here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you won't miss anything that we do. Of course, stay tuned for all the recruiting coverage at Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com, and then you can keep up on everything Pitt football, basketball, recruiting, and talk with other Pitt fans on the message boards at Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. All right, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate it. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you have a good Monday to start your week, and we will catch up with you tomorrow on the Morning Pit right here, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.